When people aren't educated on how to exercise their basic rights as British citizens to make sure that their voices are heard, then what's the point? Hello wonderful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today I'm going to be discussing things you can do to just change the UK. Before we get started, there is a button, it's the subscribe button. I'd really love to see you come back and it would help me out so much. It's totally free and you'll make my day. Thank you. So the first way in which you can change the UK is by contacting your local MP, and way too many people don't know who their local MPs are. What are you doing? Yes, this is a very loosely academic channel, but the things you aren't taught can be even more important than the things that you are taught. So things like when to go to your local authority and when to go to parliament. We aren't taught those things, and before anyone drops that, oh, but your parents should be teaching you that stupid line. First of all, I have a personal policy of never telling any parent how to raise their own child, and I encourage others to adopt the same. And number two, I'm a first generation immigrant. I moved here with my parents. Okay, so how are they going to teach me something if they're just as new to this as I am, right? And it just doesn't make sense why we aren't taught how government works, why we aren't taught the different parts of Parliament, the House of Commons, the House of Lords. Like we've all had some kind of
we should abolish the royal family
debate, but why aren't we having, oh, we should abolish the shadow cabinet debate? As much as I hate first past the post voting systems, the UK is still a democracy despite the major flaws in the voting system. In a democracy, in theory and ideally, the people have power. That's the point. That's the point of democracy, to give power to the people. And so we elect people to represent us, and those whom we elect have to represent us and our interests in Parliament. That is literally the jobs of our MPs, and that's the point. That's why they're there. When people aren't educated on how to exercise their basic rights as British citizens to make sure that their voices are heard in an impactful and effective manner, then what's the point? That takes power away from them, and that's why education is so important, and why I hate Michael Gove. I live in a Labour constituency, yay! And my local MP is Kate Green, and I love her. And the first time I personally reached out to my local MP was when things were getting tense in the Brexit debate. I didn't want Brexit then, I didn't want Brexit now. Our economy has tanked and we have lost some of our most important economic allies. It's not a good time for us. It's not a good time for Brexit. But that was my first time emailing her and I got a response quite quickly. I know loads of people in my constituency feel the same. We haven't been able to reverse Brexit, but Labour has been very vocal on not wanting a no deal Brexit, along with other parties. I think definitely SNP. And damn, it's sad. We're not even debating Brexit anymore because of Corona and racism. It's gonna come back and bite us in the arse. So yes, in summary, number one, contact your local MP. Get others in your constituency to do the same. There is literal power in numbers. That's also a very important principle in a democracy. So just get you and all your friends to email your local MPs, people in your constituency, your neighbours. I'm not saying spam their inbox, but spam their inbox. The second way I'm going to touch on is petitions. So I wasn't taught this in school at all. This is something that I came across when I signed my first petition in the UK, and you can petition directly to Parliament, and there is a protocol to do so on the petition.parliament.uk website. And what is amazing about this platform is if you get 10,000 signatures, the government will issue a response. And if you get 100,000 signatures, it will be debated in Parliament. It will be debated, and that is just amazing. Like, that is so powerful. There are very rare cases where it doesn't get debated in response to that petition, and that's pretty much only where it's either just been debated or it's already scheduled to be debated in the House of Commons. If it's an ongoing issue that people are already working to address, then your petition might become redundant. But if it's something that you feel isn't being addressed and isn't being discussed, all you need is 100,000 signatures, which, I mean, come on, there's like 69 million people in the UK. So you do the maths, it's not much, right? I've been seeing a lot of petitions on change.org, which is an online petitioning platform, right? And I've just been so confused, like, why don't you petition directly to Parliament? Because in the British cases that I have seen, more signatures have been needed to get a response normally. And I think part of the reason for that is when you petition Parliament, it's only for UK residents and British citizens. So obviously less people can do it, whereas change.org is international. I petitioned for the justice for George Floyd, right? And for Breonna Taylor. I petition for the charge to be raised to the second degree. We're not petitioning to raise it to the first degree. Okay, we're not petitioning for that. It's nice to be able to petition beyond the scope of our nation, but I think it might be more effective to petition directly to Parliament, the things that you want Parliament to address. Just petition to Parliament. On change.org, like the petitions that I've seen, they weren't petitioning Parliament. They were petitioning like the Prime Minister and like a branch of Parliament, like the Department of like Health or whatever. So that's just something to bear in mind, that there's different ways to petition. I personally think that petition.parliament.uk is the more effective route, but if you want to gain, let's say, international traction on an issue, the government can still respond to change.org petitions. It would look bad for their image if they didn't. From a PR perspective, they have to, but I think it can make your job harder. Again, it's up to you, and it's up to the petitioner's discretion which platform they choose to petition on. The third way in which you can bring change to the UK is through protests. I hate it when people say peaceful protests, because protests should be peaceful by definition. Like, a protest is peaceful. If it's not peaceful, it's not a protest, it's a riot, okay? That's just my personal opinion. I know people be like,
Yeah, you can have a violent protest.
if it's a violent protest, then you're breaking laws, which makes it a riot, not a protest. Okay. Protests are very, very powerful. It's a show of power in numbers. And honestly, it's just nice to be able to join a large group of like-minded people all fighting together for a cause. I find that amazing, to be honest, right? I think it's long overdue, because the UK has a racism issue, just like pretty much every other country. But like, unlike some European countries, like if you go to like Italy, Belgium, France, people will be racist to your face. People will make monkey noises at you to your face. They will call you racial slurs to your face with chest and no regrets, right? They put their racism out there most of the time. They're not afraid to do that. Racism in the UK is microaggressions. Racism in the UK is the underrepresentation of Black and minority ethnic people in university admissions, or underrepresentation of Black and minority ethnic students in top universities. Right, racism in the UK is the fact that a Black male is 4.2 times more likely to die from coronavirus than a white male. And the government had to be pressured into releasing this information, into releasing a report that showed that people were being disproportionately affected on a racial stroke ethnic basis. They didn't want to release it. They did not want to release it because of protests on Black Lives Matter. Wait, no, let's just ponder on that for a minute, right? Black people have been dying for no reason. Black people have been killed. Black people have lost their lives unjustly, and the government doesn't want to release a report about Black people disproportionately losing their lives to the virus. What? Because Shadow Minister for Equality, she was fighting for it. She wanted that report released. We wanted that report released. It was only when it spread to Twitter and that the news came out that it finally got released. They were prepared to delay it. That's racism right there. That's racism. Racism in the UK is inflammatory, inaccurate headlines, because let's face it, people don't fucking read. People don't read. What these major, absolute scum media companies put in their headlines has a really big impact, because no one here reads, right? People in this country just don't read. They read the headline and jump to conclusions. That's literally, I think one of my first videos was because of this phenomenon of British people not reading. Racism in the UK is a royal baby being compared to a chimpanzee because his mother was biracial. What? And that brings me on to my last point, right? Voting. Because I don't know when the next general election is going to be, but I swear some of you, you posted a Black Square on Tuesday. You signed the petition, and you're still going to go and vote Tories. After Boris Johnson had to be called out on his own silence about this by Keir Starmer, you're still going to vote Tory. It's Pride Month, guys, and to this day, I'm still seeing plenty of members of the LGBT community rightfully calling out Tories on pretending to be inclusive and pretending to care about the LGBT community when they consistently pushed against legislation that would help them, against legislation that would benefit the community. They consistently pushed against it. Section 28 was a Tory thing. Remember everything that's happening when you cast your vote, because your vote is I mean, it would be more powerful if we had an actual representative system rather than this stupid first past the post system, but your vote still matters and you should still be voting wisely. Remember all this when you cast your vote. So in conclusion, the four ways that I touched on in this video in which you can bring change to the UK are contacting your local MPs, petitioning Parliament, protesting, and voting. These are your rights as British citizens. Make sure your voice is heard, and let's go change the UK together, guys. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, although you should have, but it's okay, you can do it now. Just subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.